So intelligent causes, as I said earlier, have the unique ability to visualize complex higher level objectives and bring together everything needed to realize those objectives. And so on the supposition that a mind was involved, these sorts of systems are not particularly implausible. Notice that I don't have to say that these systems are highly probable on design. I just have to say that they're not highly implausible, whereas they are highly implausible on the falsity of the design hypothesis. And so in view of that top heavy likelihood ratio, this is what we call a Bayesian inference, it favors a design perspective. And as you consider numerous examples like this of very complex systems and other features of life that evince design, like causal circularity, the rarity of protein folds, and various other things, it seems to point very forcefully to the hypothesis of design as being the best, most elegant, most probable explanation of the available evidence.
From understanding that about intelligent design and the implications that DNA replication has on that, I also wanted to pivot a little bit to the fact that you've not only done science, but you're a writer, you do debate, and you're also a professor. So having, with your experience in all of these different areas, why should the topic, and why do you usually tell people the topic of intelligent design matters for your everyday person like myself and other families that are listening?
Sure. So intelligent design, I think, is part of a broader cumulative case for the existence of a creator behind life in the universe. So there's tremendous evidence of design not only in the life sciences but also in the physical sciences. There's evidence of that the universe seems to have had a beginning at some point in the finite past. That astrophysicists typically date to around 13.8 billion years ago, and there's tremendous evidence of fine-tuning of the laws and constants of our universe for life to exist, in particular intelligent life to exist. And then there's also the argument from the prior environmental fitness of nature that Michael Denton and others have developed, which basically argues that there are features of the periodic table and properties of light and water and so forth that make life, and in particular advanced life, probable or possible rather. And there's also, and then there's the evidence of design in biology, which is consistent with that. And so these sorts of features in the world are not hugely surprising if indeed a creator does exist behind life in the universe. Whereas they are wildly improbable if we suppose that there's no creator behind life in the universe. And of course, having a creator behind life in the universe is something which is consistent with what you would expect on the hypothesis of Christian theism. And I, of course, I'm a Christian, and I also happen to think that there's very, very formidable evidence for Christian theism, as well as just for general theism. But that would take us into another discussion. But if anyone among the listeners is struggling with doubts about the existence of a creator or the truth of Christianity, then I actually run a ministry separate from my work at Discovery Institute called talkaboutdoubts.com, where people can reach out and talk to a specialist, an expert, a PhD level scientist or scholar in a relevant field, such as in the natural sciences or in biblical studies, New Testament, Old Testament, biblical archaeology, textual criticism, philosophy, etc. And we do one-on-one private Zoom meetings to discuss people's doubts with them in confidence.
I love that, and I think that so many people would benefit from that. Even if they aren't Christians and they just want to learn more, they'd be able to reach out to you guys and just have the conversation.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for diving into this topic with us and explaining how DNA replication points to an intelligent designer, and then what the implications of that would be from us from a worldview standpoint as well. Other than Talk About Doubts, is there anywhere else that people can engage with you?
Sure. I have a website at jonathanmclatchie.com, which houses a lot of my scientific writing, as well as my writing in other disciplines, particularly New Testament studies, which I've done a lot of work on. You can also find our Discovery Institute blog at evolutionnews.org. I'm a frequent contributor there. And we also have a podcast, idthefuture.com, where I'm also a frequent contributor. Discovery.org/ID is kind of our homepage for the Center for Science and Culture, of which I'm a fellow at the Discovery Institute. And as far as books are concerned, I'd probably begin with Doug Axe's book, Undeniable: How Biology Confirms Our Intuition That Life is Designed. And then he writes very accessibly for a general reader, and Michael Behe also writes very accessibly for a general reader. I'd probably begin with his most recent book called Darwin Devolves.
Awesome. I feel like if anybody wanted to just talk to you about all the things that you do, we'd have years worth of podcast information.
Yeah.
I appreciate you so much, sir.
All right. Thanks so much for having me.
Have a good one.